already know, man. Hey, I'm fucking up already, guys. I got tongue twisted a little bit. Hey, I was gonna sit there and say Convicts Perspective Fell in the Men's Podcast, and I got twisted up. We're just talking right now. Hey, this is Real Talk with Flacco, man, coming live and direct, man. As you already know, hit the like, subscribe, comment, man. And today's guest, man, I was gonna have two people, but today I only have one. I have TOKO, as you guys already know, from Felons to Men Podcast. He also has a channel that I'm part of as well, man. And before we get into everything we're going to be discussing right now, the title of this episode is called Keep It 100. So we're going to try to keep it 100 on this episode about our thoughts, our views, our perspectives, man. And we're going to go around a whole lot of different topics. We're not going to focus on one area too long. But I do want to talk about Felons to Men Podcast. There's a lot of different topics on there, man, that if you are an ex-felon, if you are someone that's in recovery, if you're one that's gone through a transition to changing your life and you want some type of guidance or directions or just ideas of how to deal with it, man, touch base on the topic. You'll have views from myself, TOKO, and we don't have the answers to anything. We have suggestions. You know what I'm saying? And those suggestions could actually help you out, man. We talk about when you get out parole, the stumbling blocks you experience. We talk about relationships, repairing things with our kids. You know, it's a great channel. We haven't really got too much push on it because we kind of let it die out at first because we had our own personal issues going on at that time. But we've been launching a lot more content lately on there, man. And tell them about Felons to Men Podcast, TOKO.
Yeah, man, it's all just about what we're doing now. A little bit about what we've been through. If you guys watched it from when we started a few months ago or last year, man, it was just stuff that was close to our heart. You know what I mean? Not so much about the prison, even though it's kind of contradictory to not talk about it because that's how we got involved in all this shit in the first place. But it's more about, you know, the afterlife of that lifestyle and what you're doing now, the effects of relationships, whether it's with men or women, your kids, your family members, going out just hustling to try to get a regular job, paying taxes, you know what I mean? And doing all the things that when you're sitting in a cell, you deep down you wanna do. Man, I just need the opportunity. Well, here it is. And you know what I mean? It's just kind of like do or die because the bottom line is nobody gives a fuck about what you are, or who you used to be. Out here, you're just a civilian. You know what I mean? Whether you want to admit it or not. And there's a lot of ups and downs that go along with that. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of emotions and finances, and it ain't easy, you know? No, and it's not, and that's not coming from a place of being lazy or being weak. It's just there's very few limited opportunities out there when you're trying to get on a train that's going 1,000 miles an hour going the opposite way, and you've been stuck in a time warp doing the living the life that we used to live. Yeah. Now, you know, and it's not a knock at, you know, whether you're this side or whether you're that side or whether you're all that or whether you're not all that. It's just this is everything. You live in this world, you live in this country, you're gonna have to face it sooner or later. You ever want to get on your feet, you gotta start from the bottom, and that's, you know, basically, you know, in a nutshell, the direction we want to go in with the channel, right? But yeah, that's mostly about me and Flacco just talking about the things that we've been and where we're at now. You know,
it changes.
It changes. Everything changes, man, from day to day.
Good
as you
and bad.
See, yeah, you know, so. Yeah, shouts out to Felons to Men Podcast, or well, one of Flacco's fans said, you know, Boys to Men Podcast.
Hey, so check it out, man. So we're gonna start this off, man. Okay.
I wish I had their money.
This channel can go through anything. We can talk about current events. We can talk about prison. We can talk about whatever, man. One thing I want to talk about is the social media stuff, man, that occurs, man, that I see, man. This is me keeping it 100, that I think that people are less worried about hearing the truth as opposed to being entertained and experiencing drama.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's been numerous situations to where I can speak for myself to where there's been false information that was straight put out there, you know what I mean? And just spun the narrative, you know what I mean? And people rather see that and go by that than the fucking truth behind it. They want to run with the negativity, you know, and it could be for multiple reasons. It could be because they personally don't like you. It could be because they just like the theatrics of drama. You know, I've seen it on higher scales when we were going through the political stuff that was going on, man. You know, when certain people would say certain things, and I may not agree with that person, but the image that they would try to cast on certain people would not always be what it really was, or how would I interpret it. So what I want to try to get at is I feel like too many people base their judgment on people on whether they like that person, whether they know what kind of reaction they're going to get, whether it spins the narrative that they want. You no longer see people who hold the truth as far as like it's like as an honorable thing to do. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather see the drama. They'd rather see the theatrics. They'd rather see all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? As opposed to that. What's your views on that?
Oh man, where do I begin, right? Or where do I keep it simple where it's not beating a dead horse?
Yeah.
As a lot of people know or they don't know, I'm gonna say it now. There's a lot of things that go on offline, a lot of things I hear, private conversations I have, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'll keep it right there because Flacco and I were talking about this earlier before we started. There's just certain things that are personal, and there's just certain things, man, that you know, however you want to handle drama, however you want to handle going at somebody, man, that's your business. But just keep in mind, you got a family, you got kids, you got a wife, you got a significant other, you got people that watch this, or you got people that know other people that know your people. And I don't think people stop and think about the impact it has on them. You know what I mean? And if anybody was about it, like a lot of people proclaim to be, or people in the comments, or so on and so forth, then you know. But then again, like Flacco and I were talking about earlier offline, man, I don't know now. I don't know about some of the people that are our age. I don't know about some of the moral compasses that they have, man. All I could speak for was me and mine and how I came up, how I became what I became, and the politics that that were set forth in front of me. There were rules and regulations in place. And like I said, I'm not going to beat a dead horse about this, but anybody who's my age and older, or maybe a few years younger, knows, man, that there's a way about doing things. There's a way about going about things, and if you follow those rules, if you follow the bonds articles or the Constitution, whatever the case may be, I'm not going to speak on any other groups because people get sensitive. Oh, you're from here, from there. It ain't nothing. Shouts out to all the other big four and all the actives and anything else like that, man. I'm speaking the truth, and I'm speaking how I was raised in it and how I continue to conduct and carry myself today. A wise old person, a wise old C who's no longer with us said, "This ain't fucking Hollywood, man. This is real life." You know what I mean? And when I was active and I heard that message, there was a lot more to it, but I'm going to keep that for behind the walls and conversation with the right people. You can't believe everything you see, right? You ain't got to believe nothing I say, right? You could motherfuck me all day long and or not like it or call me this or call me that, man. I've been called everything there is in the book, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've done the time. I've done it on there. Oh, yeah, it has been dropout, defector, degenerate, Ellen degenerate gang, man. I heard all that shit. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. How does it feel to be? That was a classic when
that don't
got me on. You know what I mean? Someone put in the comments said, "Look at fucking how does it feel, Flacco and TOKO? You were part of something. Now you're just like Ellen. Ellen who? Ellen and her degenerate gang." I'm like, oh fuck, really?
Man.
That made me laugh, but it was
that kind of stuff doesn't bother me as much, right?
Yeah.
I could take a tap. Okay, look, there's two things, right? One, I get it. We're on YouTube. We're open for any fucking attack that we want. You know what I mean? We're on a platform. I get that part. The problems that I have, right, are this. One, okay, is don't falsify stuff. Don't spin no narratives. Don't do that part because there's a lot of that going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the other part, number two, would be this: is you have to be transparent across the board. You can't just have certain standards for one person but not for others. It has to be on equal footing, period. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. Otherwise, you're being a hypocrite, or you're playing favoritism. Goes back to the things that we experienced in prison. Favoritism is what it is. So at least let it be known where you stand on some of the stuff, man. But at least have a little bit of honor and respect as an individual. One thing to tell jokes, joke around with somebody. But I've had a lot of shit. A lot of stuff that was said about me or put out about me that was fucking totally false. And some people are still fucking joking around about it, questioning me about it. You know what I'm saying? And it gets kind of old after a while, but That's another story. What I'm trying to get at is what do people really truly want? Do they really want to hear the truth about things? Do they want, or do they want to reject that and they want to hear just the negativity? They want to hear the drama. You know what I mean? They want this person to look like this, like he's a bitch, or this dude to look like he's fucking this. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen people go out of their way to correct certain individuals on certain platforms, especially, and it's always the ones that don't show their fucking face that always have those issues, right? And they still wouldn't correct it. You know what I mean? They will run with any story that they choose to wish and make it like it's a fact. Now that I have issues with, you know what I'm saying? But you know, keeping it 100, man. I mean, this is where I stand. If anybody's going to make any type of one thing's to have a mask if you're telling your truth, your story. I don't have no problem with that, as long as you're not attacking people. But the moment you attack people, you should at least have your face out to show who the fuck you are. That's my personal opinion. And all that backdoor stuff, like when people start to gossip too and stuff like that, creating those theatrics, putting that seed in people's heads. If they're not willing to let their name be out there and they'll say, hey, don't tell nobody, well, then already you got to question what the fuck they're telling you from the get-go. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain stuff I've seen from other people get attacked, right? And this is what's being heard. Next you know, you got the comments that are running with it, right? Well, who the fuck started that rumor? Well, motherfucker, put that dude out, whoever the fuck it is. They should fucking own that shit. If you're going to sit there and slander a person to where it could affect their personal life, their image, what's going on in their home life, they should at least have the balls to put themselves out there. You know what I'm saying? Not create a whole fucking fake story. Because, you know, I mean, there's a lot of haters in the game, bro. A lot of people are worried about what the next man does, man. And that's just keeping it 100, man. Like, you know, because we can all play that game if we want. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's not a problem in our past. You know, that's not who we want to be. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like kicking in someone's fucking door. I don't feel like blowing some shit up. I don't feel like doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I'd rather fucking keep it respectful to where at least I know if this is where you stand, at least you stand there. Not all this little backdoor hypocrite shit, man. Because, you know, I mean, you know, I had to do what I had to do recently, as everybody knows, man, and look into something. And I'm like I told you before, I'm about 90% sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it real. I kept it real when I dropped that. I mean, it's sure as hell, I think it is. But people put themselves in those positions by their acts. You know what I'm saying? And you have to come forth like R&I, like, you know, research and investigation is a big thing when you make a decision. And that's what you call who, what, where, when, why, looking into all facets. I don't want your fucking opinion. I only want the facts of what you know. Not what you think happened, what you know happened. And that's the problem we have with social media is people put what they think happened, not what they know happened.
Those are you know, the 5 W's, right? Anybody that knows, and you know, and that doesn't just have to apply to lifestyles that were lived before. That applies to you know, legitimate businesses, legitimate organizations, legitimate people who you know, who do the research, man. But this is YouTube and the world that we live in, man. A side has to be chosen, whether it's said, whether it's demanded, or whether the subtle hints bring forth those decisions by the individuals. You know, the subscribers are going to be who they're going to be, man. And they're the reasons why you get the views and, you know, things get monetized. You know, let's not get it twisted, right? You know, it's entertainment, but at the same time, you know, where's that line crossed, right? Or where's that line get blurred to where, you know, yeah, man, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of shit, you know what I mean? And as far as, you know, what do people want? You know what I mean? I mean, you see it with Flacco and you've seen it with a couple other individuals who got channels. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
If you tell people, hey, man, you know, I'm this, I'm that, this is what I am. I don't endorse it. This is what I've done, you know, but these are the reasons why I started this channel. Oh, you're fucking this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. And then if you just try to be entertaining and if you just try to keep the light side of it and give your opinions on certain things, people got an issue with that too. Oh, why don't you tell them what you really are, right? So you tell people who you really are, or you be transparent about it. So there's nothing that's going to crawl out of or under a rock. Now that's minus how people want to twist narratives too, because a lot of people, including, you know, those that you and I know outside of this, man, they tend to hear what they want to hear and they'll twist their own story and turn their own narrative. They'll take something and they'll do this. And so that who, what, when, where, and why only applies to those that apply it the way that it was meant to be given, you know what I mean, for investigative purposes and to not put your foot in your mouth. But like I said, man, you know, there's no moral compass. There's no referee. There's no censorship. You know, you just kind of you're putting yourself out there on a public platform. And yeah, okay, you're not celebrity based, right? Where you're Hollywood, but look at the title of where we're on the app. It's YouTube television. It's TV. It's TV. It's a broadcast. People are going to see it. So whether they hate you or they love you or they despise you or hate what you stood for or hate what you stand for or they want to call you a sellout or they want to be your best friend or they want something from you, everybody's going to have an opinion. At the end of the day, man, I said it a million times. I did an interview with somebody else about a month ago on another channel, and people were asking me on the live, man, how do you deal with, you live this for 20 years
That's hard.
and everything that you went through, regardless, and like I said, I admit, man, it wasn't perfect. Did I make all the right decisions? No, I've always said it. There was a lot of fucking things I did because I had to do them because I chose to be a part of something like that I did with a heavy heart, But at the end of the day, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. That's the old TOKO talking to give you guys a vision of what it was like. Fuck what you used to hear. Those of us that were down in those trenches, and like I said, I don't want to get off on a tangent about that, man. But if you function with a regimen, if you function on the inside, if you were in the Hoyo, yeah, I know, I get it. I can already hear it. It don't make you a man. No, but you're a man amongst men at that time. Okay, let's keep it real. Those are situations that you can't fucking make up. Those are places that you can't fucking look up on Google like some of these idiots do. You know what it's like in that fucking cell. You know what it's like to be down in fucking Corcoran during the bird flu, the chicken flu shit that was going around. Ooh. You know what I mean? When all that shit being down there in the fucking Central Valley or
I got
going
sick,
to an institution. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make up shit. You can't make that stuff up unless you hear it or you've been through it, right? So, and being transparent and all that other stuff, like I said, man, I'm going all around the world, but the bottom line is how do I deal with that? Or how do I deal with all the cat calling? Man, you know what? When you are who you are, regardless of decisions that you made, as long as you're not, of a weirdo descent, right? I don't want to say it because I know Flock is trying to see dollar signs instead of the exclamation and getting suspended for 2 months this time.
Yeah,
so if you're of a weirdo descent, right, and you make decisions going out that way, well, then you got what you got coming. But if you do something, it's like this, man, and I'll just end this part of it and we'll move on to another subject from there. You don't know what the next man or woman is going through or why they make the decisions that they make to walk away or drop out or flip or do whatever. And I'm not condoning anything that I fucking did because it goes against everything that I stood for. I had my reasons. We dropped videos on it. I spoke. A lot of you know what happened. And I'm going to leave it at that. You know why? Because I made peace with all of that. Because of channels like this. Because telling my truth helped me. I talked to Flacco for a good month offline, man. Feeling things out. And, and then when we did what we did on Stories Written by a Current Prisoner, I told him after that, hey, man, it's out there. It's a wrap.
You find your peace.
You find your peace with it, right? And that's what I'm saying, man, is misery loves company. It's that old adjective. And
I'm going to add to this, watch. I'm going to add to this, right? Because I think a lot of times people want to disrupt your peace, though, when they see that. You know what I mean? I got asked the other day. Today, it was a good question. They said, okay, you were by that action. And someone's to put a comment on one of the videos I dropped yesterday about, that, Flacco's with that action that I seen him. I rolled up on him 3 times and finally, and he stopped and I was like, what's up? What's cracking? I'm Flacco, what's up? And a couple other people commented, I can go from 0 to 100 real quick and be a very treacherous individual. I've always been known to be like that. I don't want to be like that. And they asked me, well, if you were so much like that, why didn't you do anything when all that happened with your ex-wife? I said, well, the reason why is because I followed protocol. I thought I would be given the green light to deal with this issue. And I waited out the process. And then when I did get caught, I was looking for dude. I was going to go against the grain anyways, you know? And that was a hard part, that this shit was going to get swept into the rug. And when I found out they were trying to hit me and do all this other shit, potentially deem me, it became an issue with me. But that's where I told them, I put in the comments that, you know, my mistake was I should have just dealt with it. But I've always been a stickler for the rules. You know, I did care about my standings at the time, and I thought I would get the backing and support, which at first I did, but it changed up a little bit. And that's why that happened that way, because I followed protocol. When you're part of these groups, you don't understand protocol. And a lot of times, if you have a good palabrao that's always been recognized and you've never, ever had any type of backlash or denials in your career, you're expecting to go your way because you know what's in front of you. You don't expect to get betrayed. But in the process of all that, yeah, I was out to go get that dude. I was saying fuck everybody at that time. And that was another underlining thing that was easy, that helped me make my decision, besides, you know, the green light they tried to put on me and all that, was this dude getting away with what he did. That did not sit right with me over money. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic, man. That's just me keeping it 100 since someone brought that in the comments, and I've seen it like 2 or 3 times, you know what I mean? You know, because it's nothing to go smoke no, but everybody knows that. You can go fucking get your body real quick. But when you're living that life that we did, we still had rules we had to follow. If we wanted to maintain good standings, that's why the most dangerous person sometimes on the streets is that dude that you're calling a PC or degenerate, because they don't follow no rules. They don't have to follow by no code of conduct, and everybody needs to remember that. They don't have to follow any rules about kids and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Not that I condone that stuff, but that's just the reality, man. There's some dudes that are really with it, man, and everything's on the table. And people, they don't have to follow no rules. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't support anybody that goes to the extreme of that. You know what I'm saying? But where I'm going at is, you know, there's different ways of going about it. You know what I'm saying? You don't forget who you are just because some situation happened and you make a choice that you felt was best for you. Because it's like with me, the last 6 months, I've gotten almost back into my old behaviors, almost really, really close, man. You know what I'm saying? And you'll know when I'm back to my old behaviors, because I won't be on YouTube no more. You know what I'm saying? I'll be doing some way out shit, and I don't want to be that person. But anyways, let's go to the next topic, because I'm getting off track. And let's talk about these cases, you know, that you were talking about, the Delphi murders. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, Delphi, Indiana.
Delphi, Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is news to me, guys. So I'm hearing it for the first time. So I'm gonna give us whatever input I can off Toko's spill.
Yeah, somebody hit me up. You know, I mean, the state of the world, what it's in right now, man, is just a lot of shit. You know what I mean? That goes beyond YouTube, man. Out in the real world, man, people are dying. People are, you know, kidnapping, or, you know, those of weirdo descent, right? A lot of that stuff is coming to the forefront now, man. And somebody hit me up on my IG. Hey, did you hear about these Delphi murders, man? They made an arrest with those 2 little girls that went missing and were found the next day, you know, in Delphi, Indiana. And so when I was looking at it, and somebody sent me the article, man, in 2017, these girls were just being girls or best friends, right? They're just kids. I think, I don't know, they were like early teenagers, right? You know, between 11 and 13 years old. And, you know, they were just going to a park, you know, that had like a railroad track, and there's all these little trails. You know, anybody that knows that area, Indiana, where they were at, then you know what kind of terrain it is, you know, and it's a small population town. And these girls were making their little Snapchat videos and stuff, and then they noticed somebody following them, and they happened to film and I think say something. They didn't release anything from the Snapchat, but a few seconds of it. And I guess in total it was about a minute or 45 seconds or a minute long video total, but they only released 5 seconds of the public just so they could hear the person's voice. And they reached a couple of the images. The girls were so aware of their surroundings that they felt the vibe off of this dude. They had crossed the railroad tracks into another part of the park, and then they noticed this guy with his head down. I don't know if he knew he was being filmed or what, but he was an older gentleman, right? You know, husky wearing. It was Valentine's Day, right, or the day before Valentine's Day in 2017, and he followed them down, man. And you know, and they were able to catch his voice. And like I said, the Snapchat video wasn't released. I don't know if it covers they were attacked or they were taken, but you know, you could hear his voice giving them direction on where to go. So it caused this big old stink, for obvious reasons, man. And right away when you hear about stuff like that, man, and just and I was reading as I was reading on, they didn't find the girls till the next day. Like I said, that area is real. I don't want to say desolate, but it's kind of rural Indiana. There's it's mixed. It's like a park. It's trail. It's hunting grounds, and people's properties kind of wither around. It's just I don't want to say the backwoods, but it's the country, right?
Yeah.
And they found the girls there. They won't say how they died. They won't say what happened to them. They just, from the reports that were released, that they were deceased, and it was horrific, right? And so I guess a couple weeks ago, or before Halloween, the week before Halloween, or the Friday before Halloween, they made an arrest.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They made an arrest, and in my opinion, everything that I read, the district attorney asked for not to keep everything under wraps. They're not even giving the reasons why they were able to get the search warrant and the warrant. They won't talk about the items. They won't talk about nothing. If you look online, there's a forensic report that was written by the feds because the FBI was in it, and there was enough biological evidence and blood left behind at that scene that who the perpetrator or perpetrators, they said, that were involved, they would have had it on them. And some of the articles of the girls' clothing were missing, and that their bodies were staged in a certain way. And I don't know. Like I said, I could be speculating because I read this. Been following it, you know what I mean, on some of the on online, some of the snippets of the news channels, because like I said, it's in the Midwest. But I had no idea. I remember hearing, once I seen the dates, I remember I was in the joint obviously in 2017, but you read things and you hear about these things, man. And I seen the pictures of the girls, and they're just little kids that don't know any better. And I don't mean that in derogatory. I mean, they shouldn't, man. They should be able to go to a fucking park. They should be able to play with their Snapchat. And hang out and something that they've probably done 1,000 times. And all of a sudden, somebody gets a wild hair up their butt, or you come across the wrong individual that I'll say this though, man. It was a local guy that they arrested that lived 2 miles away from one of the victims, was a pharmatech at a local place. The people were shocked because he was fretting. Nothing was out of the ordinary of it. But they were also saying too that was a clue, because the police said at the beginning of the investigation, and some of the witnesses said, there's no way that a stranger just driving through is going to know that area the way that this person did, to take the girls, to where to hide them, to where they couldn't be found because they believed that they were, whatever was done to them or however they died was done the day they went missing, and they weren't found to the next day. And the way they were found, and in the area they were found, jurisdictional wise or whatever, or you knew that this was someone else's property because they looked at the guy who the kids' bodies were found on his property. They investigated him, and that guy died in 2020. You know what I mean? And he lied a little bit. And he was an older guy. I think he was 66 at the time. Mind you, this was 5 years ago, but it just goes to show.
That's probably why they're not putting it out there. Probably because that's, the defense attorney is probably going to use that. If they prove the previous person on the property lied, it's going to raise red flags.
But they didn't get the evidence. The evidence that they got, right, is what constituted this guy. I forget what his name is, man. It's been all over the news, but
Now, the only thing, did he drug them or anything?
Like I said, we don't. They're not even saying how they were killed, or what. The only thing is that there was a lot of blood. That was the only thing that was released from the FBI, is that the scene was a lot of blood. It was a horrific scene. The bodies were staged in a certain way. So articles of clothing were missing.
So local law enforcement and the politicians in that city are really not putting nothing out there right now.
No, because they want this. They want a
No,
conviction.
I gotta respect that then, because a lot of times what they'll do in these circumstances is you'll have the politicians go up there on the platform, oh, we got the arrest, we got this and that, man, like with no trying to glorify, like, you know, the job that they did and so forth, man. I like it more when they're like, you know what, man, fuck the fame, fuck the attention, let's get some results that we want in this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, those that were close and people that got a hold of paperwork that they got, you know, and then there was an FBI profiler just said the way that the scene was found and the forensic FBI forensic profiler, I don't know if that's the right word, you know, someone correct me on that, but they
Yeah,
said that they see with these type of crimes that individuals either memorialize it, you know what I mean, or they take things for souvenir to remind them of that. And there were little things that when they searched this guy's pad, his garage, and he had another. There was another. I don't know if it was dwelling or if it was like another little house outside the property of the man that they arrested for this, right? You know, and all that's being tight-lipped, bro. I've never. I mean, I don't follow investigations. I'm not a journalist like the rest of you guys are, man. But this right here, man, was just you know what I'm saying? This right here, man, was something that the who, what, when, where, and why, right? It intrigued me how they handled this thing, man, and how I'm like, damn, how come they're not saying? And they give you a reason why they're not saying. And man, how come this is happening? And they give you a reason why. Hey, this is they led you. If you read it and you follow it to the T of what they're trying to say, right? And if you have any fucking wherewithal about you, man, and common sense, they're leading you in a direction to where this is why we can't say. And I've watched, man, since then I've watched, and when journalists or when the news reporters try to be sneaky and they'll end the press conference. To me, I'm like, damn. They'll be like, okay, that's it. That's all tonight on a comic perspective.
Those journalists are like trolls, bro. Like sometimes, man, they try to sneak in there. Hey, I got two more questions I want to touch on, man. And these are going to be some sensitive topics a little bit, man, but they're both kind of prevalent to the YouTube world. What did you think about the Weddle Hoodstock thing?
About the what?
The Weddle and Hoodstock situation.
Well, like I said, I heard more, but I didn't see it.
I put him on the spot, huh? Did I?
You know what I mean? I didn't see it. To be honest, I heard a lot about it offline from different individuals, from journalists, and journalists. You know what I mean? That's that situation right there, man. Like, you know, I don't really.
I get it.
I don't really have an opinion on it. Flacco, I think. I don't think I know. You know, as and this is not me sticking up from. This is me how he's been with me from day one. I think the transparency speaks for itself. I think, you know, whatever happened in those videos and what conversation happens fits the narrative to who's ever watching it and whatever they're going to get out of it. You know what I mean? I think that Weddle's a good dude. You know, like I said, I don't know the situation, and that's not me trying to be diplomatic. I really, everything happens so fast. You guys see I'm hardly ever on here, man. And Flacco calls me, man, just to let me know the who, what, when, where, and why, and jump upside down, man, and all this other stuff. And oh, you didn't hear, or you know, and what do you think about this? And like I said, those are conversations that him and I have, like I have with other individuals, man, because they know the way that I am, man, and I'm not going to use it to make a video and throw these guys under the bus or say, hey, that was my idea, or like some of the stuff that I hear that goes on, you know, it's just like I said, man, either I'm getting too motherfucking old, or I don't have the brain power to decipher what makes people do the things that they do. So, you know, I mean, as far as the Hoodstock and Weddle situation, man, I think, like I said, I think the video speaks for itself. And I think how everybody else, you know, you can look at it two ways, right? Everybody hated Savage. God rest his soul. You know what I mean? I seen a change in that man. And like I said, that was probably one of Flacco's most poignant and diverse and diplomatic, in-depth fucking, like, you know what I mean? It was like watching a fucking episode of Oprah. The guy had he just sitting at a table, he had the camera, you know, he had the big thing, and they were out in Savage's territory, two men having a conversation. What'd you get, like over 1,500 on that live?
I
You know what I
forgot,
mean?
man.
Like you were Schlad TV or Vlad TV, whatever the Vato's name is. And I really don't know. I just been hearing
Hey,
about that about that dude.
this is journalist Big Flacco here, coming to you live and direct on Real Talk with
Yeah.
Flacco, guys.
Yeah.
So okay,
You know?
I get where you're going with that. Yeah, I heard a couple of remarks even from that dude, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's still be positive, but you don't have to step in shit, man. Hey, bro, people are people, man. So here's my next one, and this is an important one because a lot of people try to run with storylines that were misinterpreting what I was saying and what I was trying to advocate and what I was trying to promote. And you from that past lifestyle, you're going to get this. I got a lot of backlash when I did the Little Toto interview. Now everybody knows what TOKO went to prison for. We both stand against sexual deviant behaviors. You know what I'm saying? But we still understand what due process is and evaluating things and getting down to the truth at times. So I guess I made a remark about the parents, right? That some people took offense to. I wasn't blaming the parents. What I was saying is that everything had played a factor into it. And that as parents, we have to set the tone to where our kids ain't running out in the streets doing these things, especially with young women. You know what I'm saying? I think our women, we have to protect even more as parents, so they don't feel the need to go out there and allow themselves to be exposed to that life, to what happened, the things that occurred. That's all I meant by that, man. Like, if it was my daughter, hell yeah, I'd be over there fucking kicking in doors and laying motherfuckers down. Do you know what I mean? But I would never want to put my daughter in a position to where she felt the need to do that. You get what I'm saying? And that was my whole point, that we have to be more proactive parents as far as so they don't feel the need that they have to do this, or we have to sit there and dispel any influences that could affect them. But I got a lot of backlash for that one, man. And like I said,
you did.
I came and looked at it from this, and you guys all know where he stands on this shit, man. So I don't even know what his opinion is on this, but he's going to keep it 100 either way. I only went there because I didn't think there's some things right in how everything developed, because I was an outsider. I didn't know any details about it. So I felt the need to talk to him about it and find out the truth. And I still don't have an opinion on it. Okay. When someone has been in prison and they're not deemed, right? When someone does not get deemed on a case that's 13, 12 years old, that's a red flag for any one of us, because we know how R&I is going to be conducted. We know due process. We know investigations. I mean, I've done investigations to where I've done so much. I've had so many fucking questionnaires where I had to have them resubmit the questionnaires to get answers. And I don't believe that would not have happened under that circumstances. And if it was that serious, he would have been in the oil reporting too as well. So it doesn't mean I know that for a fact. And someone said, okay, look, well, that's prison stuff. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, I know this is YouTube. This is all general opinions. You guys on YouTube don't always go with facts. You guys have to go with the substance and spin any narrative that you want. And it got me I felt unwanted attacks when I had a lot of brothers getting me saying, hey, I did everything you said. They told me, you know what I'm saying? You weren't I'm not advocating for promoting that stuff, but it turned into that, bro. You know what I'm saying? That I'm a supporter of this. No, I don't support none of that. I look at everything that may have occurred, the ages, the whatnot, the fucking misleading, the probably partying and getting drunk and, you know what I mean, high, and then probably not even worried about thinking that she's 18 and stuff like that. That's where I went with that, man. Doesn't mean I condone it, but it happens at that young age. And that's why us as parents need to do a better job in raising our kids so they don't do these type of things. You know what I mean? And I want your opinion on everything, though.
I didn't watch the video. We had a conversation after you did it, and you put me up on all that stuff. And then then after that, it was like almost like clockwork where it came into my feed. I think Gun did something on it, right? And people deserve their due process. And yeah, it's a give and take. Red flags go up, right? And the only thing I could relate it to when I was living that life, as far as how we followed and what we did when certain situations like what that would come up, is there was one situation where the individual was 19 or 20 years old. He was the first term he was coming through. Now, anybody that knows back in the day, level ones and level twos, if they were slated to go out to a dorm or the ranch, right, they come to the 3 or 4 yards. You know what I mean? And homeboy slid through. I'm not gonna say where he's from, but he had a statutory on his, right? And I guess when he was in Quentin, there was some question about it that whoever was running it, whoever was in charge, right, was probably feeling, whatever he was feeling and try to deem him no good. And he slid through and the paperwork was shown to who it needed to be shown to, and he was cleared. Come to find out after the investigation, he's got a 3-year-old kid with this girl. You know what I mean? They were both minors when they met, but he just happened to be 2 or 3 years older. And she was 17 or 16 when she got pregnant. And I think he was 17 or 18. And then the parents got pissed off, is the story that was told to me, and pushed up on charges or whatever. And he ended up getting a couple years in the joint for that. You know what I mean? And now he's got
What year was this?
This was
90. Does this is like 98?
No, this was this is before the before we got dismantled, before the dismantling came out. So this was like 96, 95. You know what I mean? Because I had been what I've been
from our area, right?
He might have been. I'll say that much. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was a situation like that. So to me,
this one's a little different though. This one wasn't a relationship though.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And my situation too, it didn't have to do with the minor. You know what I mean? Everybody knows what happened to my ex. God rest his soul. And the bottom line is this: if deviant behavior, if somebody's going to try to get at you, they're going to try to get at you, man. I think the world is proven that when it comes to that, there's no whether it's a sickness or not. But like I said, you just you did a video and it sounds like explaining the situation, right? And I guess it was found that there was no paperwork, or there was no
there was a conviction. There was a conviction for statutory.
So there was a conviction,
and no one else. I mean, the other stuff about the 12, 15 people that allegedly trained her before, that came from him. I don't know when that happened or where or what.
Right.
And
you gave him your platform to tell his truth.
I just wanted to question it because I'm one of those persons like this, bro. Like, when I see someone was not deemed back then, why wasn't he not deemed? You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen people get deemed and cleared. Now, this is one thing that people don't talk about. Like, when someone's at that age, 20 or 19, whether they know or not, they're going to say that they don't fucking know. And you can't really prove that they don't know. Especially when the person said that they were 18. That I didn't know was on the paperwork. But, I mean, the age was kind of young, though. But, I mean, it doesn't justify it. But people have they're going to have their different opinion on it, man. Like, I don't believe in it. If you fucking know, especially if you know, fucking whack them. The other part, it depends. You got to look at how the person looked, what they were doing, and whatnot. Because there's a lot of bad shit that was going on back in the days, man, to where there's a lot of stuff that was going on that nobody talks about. I'd say a lot of these people from these hoods, even that are in leadership positions, would be deemed no good for some of the shit that they did. That was even worse than that. But that's neither here nor there. I don't support it. I don't support any type of deviant behaviors, period. Okay. I do seek the truth on the issues, though. And that's all I did, though. And I got a lot of backlash for it, bro. But I think people want to spin the narrative, like I said before, to what they felt I was saying instead of listening to what I said. Even the part I mentioned about the parents, I get that part. I kind of did mislead that with my statement, so I own that. But that's not what I meant. And that's a problem sometimes when you're on YouTube. You're trying to express yourself, and people just don't want to hear it. And then other people get influenced by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my points about it, as far as what I said, was this would at least have to be freeze. I couldn't deem nobody over this. Okay, you were at a party, everybody was drunk in there. She said she was 18. I couldn't deem a 20-year-old over that. I'd have to look into it. I'd have to have proof that fucking he knew somehow, or that someone knew or something. I would have to know that part. You get what I'm saying? And that'd have to be corroborated. Because, I'm talking, see, this is convict's perspective, people forget, on the other channel, right? In the convict's perspective, I got to think how I would as a convict at times and how the decisions I would make, because I've had situations like that to where I had to make a decision and I had to look at it. You know what I mean? They had a kid together or something like that. I've seen people make decisions based upon assumptions to where it was a wrong call. To next thing you know, I now cleared the person, and next thing you know, I got to make a decision whether I have this dude hit for making a bad call or do I clear him. You know what I mean? That's how serious that lifestyle can get. And so sometimes people got to listen when we're talking. When you see us doing a little R&I on situations, man, just like if we put out some false content or some information that ends up not being true, which could occur, does not mean that when it comes down to serious issues, we're not going to look into it. It's like even with the triple OG situation. I said I'm about 90%, 95% sure on what I feel about that because everything lines up. But I have yet to have someone sit there and say this is who it was. I found that through my own research. But regardless, right? Say if it wasn't him, right? And that came out, then someone's going to sit there and pinpoint this towards me. Oh, you were whoa. No, this is what I think it is. I don't have the 100% facts of it, but people are only going to want to hear what they want to hear sometimes, and that goes based upon whether they like you or not. You know what I'm saying? If they like who you are as a person, they like your get down, then they're going to be supportive of you. If they don't, they're going to find ways to attack you. You know, and you know that's just how it is sometimes, and that's where people have to really look when you get into these real life issues like this. These are real people here. You know, and I can only support what is right and what is and go against what is wrong. And so, you know, that's my view. Keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? Like I could easily sit there and fucking side just because it's popular public opinion. But I'm not that person. I've never been that person. You know how I am. I've always spoke my mind, and that's why a lot of people used to try to bump heads with me back in the day, even on when we're prison politics. But I was always able to prevail because those were the common sense and understand the core beliefs in the dogma that comes from these laws. Understand how important it is to be 100% accurate. You know what I'm saying? I used to always stress that to every soldado that I ever pulled or schooled was that you have to have 100% certain. You can't go off insinuations. You can't go off assumptions. You can't go off none of that. If that's the case in what's being presented, even if it's a hearsay, you know, whether this dude's been a fucking degenerate his whole life, yet the only one that could talk about it is between two people in the cell, I cannot make a decision because I was not there. I've had those situations, you know what I mean? Where a dude that had a shady background, he was an insult. His cellie said that he threatened him, said, I'm an insult dog, and pulled out a RB on him, said, you know, I'll fucking stab you if I want to, and shit like that. The youngster reported it to the Hole. Now, I believe it really happened in the cell, but I could not prove it. Therefore, I could not make a decision on it. I had to sit there and say, no, I can't sanction the. I wanted to sanction the green light because the dude had all kinds of shit on his jacket from the past and shit, but I can't judge him off his past either. I just knew that he had those degenerate motives that eventually were going to come out. And that's what I'm getting at. Sometimes you have to make decisions based upon what you can prove, not what you feel. And that's what comes with that lifestyle. When you were a soldado, when you were a head mano, when you're a carnal, you can't go that way. Because if you start to go any different way from what the truth is, you're starting to push a narrative that caters to what you believe, not what you can prove.
I think it comes down to this, and it's real simple. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah,
and you have to, and if you're in any type of leadership position or you come across stuff like Flacco was talking about when you're dealing with individuals who have been charged or convicted with stuff, man, anything you say, whether you lean one way or the other, people aren't going to agree with everything you say, and people aren't going to agree with how you feel or what you do. All you can do is put forth what's been told to you, put forth what's in front of you, hear what they have to say and what the facts are, and let the people make the decisions for themselves. But like I said, because you're Flacco and because you are a journalist on here, right?
Wait. All of a sudden, I don't know nothing, right? All of a sudden, all these dudes had higher status and rankings than me. All of a sudden, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened overnight. I mean, but I guess it happens, right?
But like I said, though, man, it's just like you said at the beginning of this, and anybody that knows you and all your other colleagues, man, on these other channels, man, just they go hard to paint with you, man. You know what I mean? To quote this younger generation, they go hard. And like I said, and you've been nothing but transparent. I mean, what more can one man or woman do but tell the truth? And
if
you know, like I said, that's why this ain't Hollywood, man.
If I spoke out the truth, I could ring the fucking ringer right now, but I'm not gonna do that shit, bro. What's it accomplish, homie?
No, like I said, man, it doesn't. And when you and I have had many of these conversations before, man, like it is what it is, because tomorrow's going to be something else, and the day after that, and the week after that, and a year from now, it's going to be another issue, you know, or it's going to be there's going to be something else that's going to be talked about, man. And like I said it on other channels, and I'll say it again. There's enough for people to bubble on their own. You know, if you get intimidated, if you feel inferior, if you feel like you're going to get more views, man, YouTube ain't giving a shit. They're gonna pay you
Yeah,
out whatever
yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna, whether you got 50,000 subscribers or 150 or you got 1,500. You know, it's a popularity, and this is all run by computers, man. All run
Yeah.
by computers, and everything is digitized. It's programmed by human beings, but the way they do it, why things take so long, is because YouTube is worldwide. You know, and
You
as a
know,
journalist on YouTube, you know,
journalist.
flop,
Fuck that.
flop,
I like.
yeah, you know what I mean?
I'm a journalist. Flacco. Man, I'm put
Yeah, you
journalist
know what
right
I
here,
mean?
guys. Let me see if I can do that. Hey, check this out, Toko. The thing that gets me right is I've tried to come out a little bit out of a different character, a little
Yeah.
bit, try to unwind a little bit, be more like shoot the shit. But I
Yeah,
guess
you can
people,
tell, man. Your
I guess,
complexion looks like you're vacationing in Miami right now, bro.
I, I guess people expect me to be fucking all settled like this and shit. Nah, like I mean, like
Nah,
I could
you know what I mean?
unwind, I could joke, I could call it like it is, I could
Yeah.
bullshit, I can get controversial, I could do all that shit too sometimes, man. And there's been times where I've been timid to really speak my mind on things. And lately, in the last few months, because like you get tired of bullshit getting thrown at you, man. Shout out to the homeboy Eddie, man. I seen your comment, bro. You know what I'm saying? Known him for a long time and shit, man. What was I gonna say? You just get used to it, bro. You never forget where you're from, bro, or what you've been through or whatnot, man. And you know, when that occurs, man, it's like keeping it 100. You know, everybody has an ego to a certain extent, man. But don't let that ego start to blind other people or start to put covers or start to fucking have tunnel vision or whatnot. Because I see a lot of potential in a lot of people too, man. You know, and I was peeping out a little bit of Rascal's live earlier, and he's right. It's hard, man. It's hard when you're sitting there making this into a way for you to live and make an income. When you refrain from certain things and then you start to engage in other things, you start to engage in things that you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? When I'm engaging in things lately, it hasn't been about fucking views or money, really. It's been about motherfucking, I feel attacked. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I've been feeling lately. Because I wasn't one of those ones that used to do that because I think that's beneath me as a person. As
Right.
far as, not that I haven't done it though, I'll say, yeah, I have, but you get to a certain point to where you get tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker, get off or get on. And that right there is really something that's hard because where you said, what you were saying earlier, how people can change when they come onto this and grow, right? Into a different person. I came in here with a positive attitude, and it's been more declined into a negative attitude because of what I've experienced from negative individuals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff, like you said, that people don't know that actually Toko's been privileged to, man. That's would shock people, but I'm not going to go there. And it's made me be more hardened, me be more reserved, and me be more secured, and me be more outspoken at times. And I don't like to be that person. I like to be able to be who I am as a person without being a fucking attacked over some fake bullshit because fucking for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, go ahead.
And you guys got to realize too, those of you that, you know, all of the guys that, like I said, from Dubs all the way in between, all the way down to Boxer, all these guys that I watch, man, you're a public figure. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's tough. You know, you're trying to make a living. I mean, I get it. I understand it. I don't judge it, man. Fuck, man. I subscribe for a reason because I'm not only a fucking client. I'm also the president right now. But you know what I'm saying? Just it's stuff. Like I said, from Dubs all the way down to Boxer, it's stuff to help me decompress. I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
about none of the gang bullshit no more. I don't care about the politics. I don't care about the what's going on, man. Hey, man, God bless them, active, inactive, fucking, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, whatever makes you happy and whatever puts positivity in your life. I'm not sitting here blowing smoke up anybody's ass. I'm trying to live the same way. Do I fall short of that shit? Fuck, man, every day. Every day I fall short of it, right? But at the same time, I think it's important to remember, man, that there's reasons why you guys got your subscribers or your fans or people that support and some people that hate. And like I said, it's just a simple process and it's a simple rule, man. You don't like what you see, man, turn this off or turn this
Yeah.
channel off or don't do it. But I just think nobody realizes the stuff that goes into it. You know what I mean?
No, they don't, bro.
Dubs talks about it. Rojo talks it. Everybody's touched on it. You touch on it. Box touches on it. But watching you guys all change from when we started doing this a couple of years ago.
Unfortunately,
man.
bro. I think in the long run, I think it's very difficult, bro, because you may want to have an initial push for certain things and feel you have a lane, man. But I think I think there's a little bit of corruption that's occurred. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do see the downfall where it occurred. You know what I'm saying, on a lot of things, man. And I think that, you know, it's time to try to salvage all that, man. And you know what I'm saying? In order to salvage everything, man, is to come as a unified front, whether you're from up north, down south, or whatnot, man, and push that agenda, man, about what each channel wants to do. Because we could all be separate all day. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? But all that leads to is people taking shots, subliminals, and whatnot. You know what I mean? Or people categorizing some as some, you know, like me and you've had some discussions, man, you know, where some things puzzle us. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to even mention it, but if you know, then you know. All you got to do is observe. Anyways, I'm going to end this. Toko, tell them about Felons to Men podcast. You guys hit the like and subscribe, man. Check out the channel. We do have a lot of videos. Some of them have low numbers, man, but they're good videos, man.
Yeah.
I
do for the love of it, man. You know what? Thanks for having me on.
That's
a journalistic view, ladies and gentlemen.
This is
with
okay.
Yours truly, Flacco's Tacos, man. Don't forget.
This is the type of platform I'm trying to have on this, guys. I'm trying to have at least more than one person at a time. I got someone scheduled for Saturday. I'm trying to mix it up where I get different guests, but it's going to take time to develop. But this is the type of stuff I want to discuss. It's going to be stuff on the streets, prison, YouTube, everything, man. You know, I appreciate everybody, man. I'm gonna call you right now, Toko.
All right.